Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to Body Whispering and your business and money flows. So this is the last call in a series of 3 that I've done this month. And this is one of my absolute favorite topics. So I could talk about this probably for 2 days straight. So for me to talk about this in, a short call like this, I am going to try to be succinct, and I'm going to do my best to stay on topic and to give you what you require out of this call, but also to do my best to cover the things that I would really like to cover. Because there is normally so much information that comes out of these calls that it's very easy to go down a rabbit hole or a garden path and then not cover some of the core basics that are helpful to those that haven't been on these calls before. So today I would love to do a wonderful mix of me talking and covering the basics, and then answering all your questions and comments and queries, and especially if you have questions around how this relates to your business or your money flows or your life. And I'll do my best not to get distracted by all you beautiful people up there, especially when I see someone I recognize and I want to start talking to you. Okay, so if you have questions, there's 2 things you can do. You can just say, hey Adeela, you can interrupt me and I will respond to you, or I'll say, let me get to that in a couple of minutes. Or if you want to type it into the comments box, probably Aradna is going to read them out to me as required. Is that cool, Aradna? Yeah, cool. Cool. So, business, money flows, body whispering, all of my favorite topics. Yay, how does it get better? So I wanted to do this call as the last call because, like I said, it's one of my favorite topics, and I do have so much information on it. And also every day, every week, as I live my life and I do more and more in terms of following the energy and body whispering in my own life, the information around this area continues to change and grow and evolve, just like it does with body whispering in general. So, when I schedule a call like this, even in the days or the week leading up to it, I get more and more information come through, which is very cool for my business and cool for you guys. So, the things that I wanted to cover are things that I wrote about in my email or on my Facebook post, the video I did yesterday, just talking about how conscious business creation, creating your business consciously, creating your life consciously is what I'm about. Creating your business consciously is then a natural byproduct of that. Business for me is something that is a part of everyday life. It's a part of, your business is your life, but also the way that I live my life. And I know a lot of the people that, like attracts like, or the other people in my life who are either friends or business partners or colleagues or my husband, we do life as we do business and vice versa. There isn't a clear distinction between business time and lifetime. Even when we are on holiday, we can't help, like we went to Vietnam on holiday, and we would look at these amazing stalls that were just like, would have hundreds of people every day line up to buy a sandwich from them, and they were on TripAdvisor, and they'd be like known as the best place to get a banh mi sandwich in Vietnam. And I'd be talking to my husband about, oh my God, look at that, and look at how that business has grown, and look at their opportunity for franchising that out, and look at what they can, we're always talking about those things, and then we apply it to the businesses that we have in our life. And I also facilitate a lot of my clients. It kind of makes me laugh sometimes about how I've ended up facilitating so many business clients and having so much to do with business. that is not really my background, but the more and more clients that I have clients in every industry and every sector, and clients who are doing startups, clients that have sole trader or sole practitioner businesses, facilitators, healers, all the way through to people who not only have their own business, but they're actually like the heads or the executives of really big multinationals, brands that we all know and have heard of. So that gives me a really interesting insight into the different elements and aspects that go into different types of business. And yet what's really interesting is it's one and the same. Because what I'm always talking about and facilitating about is how to create your business and your life consciously, and how to create your business in a way that's in alignment with you and who you are, and how to really follow the whispers of your business, follow the whispers of the universe, follow the whispers that your body is trying to tell you about how if you did this thing or implemented this practice or worked with this person or didn't work with that person, how that would create your business as the most successful. Because it would also create your business as being the most congruent with who you are. And I will talk about this more. Congruence is, if you've been working with me or followed my work over the years, congruence is like my favorite word. I'm always talking about being congruent with who you are and what you're creating. Why? Because it creates success. It creates success in every area of your life, whether you want success financially, whether you want success in your business, whether you want a successful relationship, whether you want to be a successful healer. You've got to be congruent with what you're doing. So my facilitation is around getting you congruent, getting you in tune and aligned spiritually, physically, emotionally with what you're creating and how you're creating it, and then bringing in a little bit of magic because that's always the best part, to making business and money and finance something that is a really beautiful contribution to your life. So I hope that explains a little bit about what we're doing. And if not, that's okay. So for those of you who are online and who are live, do you want to either call out or type into the box as to what you want to get out of today and what you would like to hear me talk about or to ask me about? And you're all muted, I think, so you'll have to unmute yourself. No. Okay. There's a few of you on here. Okay. Aradna, are you saying something?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was listening. Am I?
That's better.
Okay. So like I realized that how I differentiate myself and I separate myself from business and work and holiday. So can you say more about it? Because it's like, for me, it's like work and this is holiday, and
yeah,
mix to create kind of an input. I just got it from it right away. So if you can say more around that.
And what are you getting would work better for you, to separate those areas of your life out, or to flow with that, kind of have that as part of everything that you do?
I think it should be part of everything I do. And it's like how my husband always talks about business, and I'm like, no, This is not the time to talk about business every time. And like when I was hearing you talking about it all the time.
I know, and you must hate when me and Armand are together, because all we do is talk about business. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I'm always running from it. And what is that? It's kind of like completely cut. And then I'm like, where is business for me and what is business for me? Because I just acknowledge that with this, and thank you so much that I just cut off myself from the business totally. There's something that I do not want to receive from it properly. Is it, or is it?
Well, I want to give you the awareness that if you are someone who wants to separate like if you want to do business separately and the other areas of your life separately, that's okay. And that's not a problem if that works for you, because you're someone who, in order to deal with stress or in order to be able to enjoy, there are some people that don't like business as much as we do. There are some people where it's not the number one thing for them. It is the number one thing for me. That's why I facilitate on it, and I don't facilitate on, certain other topics. But so first of all, ask yourself a few questions and get congruent with, like, am I someone who only wants business to be a certain part of my life, and that's cool and it's going to stay in its little compartment. What you will find, though, probably is that as you start to do more and as you step more into your business and embody your business, you can't help but have it be part of everything that you do. And the people that are really successful in business, and the people that we all kind of look at and read books about them and look at them as role models and leaders in the world, not just in business now. People who are leaders in their business often turn into leaders for the world, like the Richard Bransons, the Elon Musks of the world. So their business is all encompassing. What they are out to do, it's always on their mind. It's part of their dinner conversation. It's part of whoever they meet. They're always talking about it because they can't help A, talking about it and spreading their excitement around what they're doing, but B, and this is what I'm doing a lot, is I'm always out to get more information. And so I was, facilitating a client this morning, and I was saying to them, I'm always willing to, my husband sometimes why are you so nice to everyone? Why do you talk to everyone? And I'm because everyone's got information. I'm willing, I don't tell people, I don't need to be the smartest person in the room. What I am willing to do is find out, what do you know that I don't know that could contribute to my business? And then when I get that information, I either go, oh, that's cool information, I didn't know that, or I go, oh, that's not applicable to me, or that doesn't feel light, so that's not true for me, that's not something I need to take on board. Okay, but as you start to have business be a part of everything that you do, it's the best form of networking, the best form of marketing, the best form of growing your business is being you and embodying your business. And then your business grows as a byproduct of that. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is how getting the results that you may be after financially or in your business or in your life. If you don't have a business, that's okay. You're not excluded from this conversation. What we talk about is applicable to any area of your life. It's about embodying it and, like I said, being aligned with it. So for whatever reason that you may have decided that business is only, or work, or your job, if you're employed by someone, it's not about talking about work all the time and work and being someone who, is always talking about their boring work stories, but it is about putting everything you have into contributing to the job that you have, and then seeing what other information there is out there for you to be able to do that job better. And you will then be someone that progresses in your career faster than other people that don't. If you think of your job as just your job, if you think of your business as just your business, something that you want to do to make money so then you can go and live your life, then that's all it's going to be. That's as much of a contribution it's going to be to your life. It's going to sit in this little compartment, and it's going to know that the only job it has is to give you enough money or satisfaction so that you can take the money out of that business or job and then go and do the stuff you think you really like doing, which is traveling or partying or taking your boyfriend out to dinner or whatever that is. When you think of what you do in your life in all areas as a contribution to your business and vice versa, your business is always something that's around you. your business is always contributing information to you. Like, it's very hard for me to look at anything or to hear anything or to watch anything and not kind of have it like in my head kind of give me ideas or an inspiration or question like what that is and how I could apply it, or if that's applicable to me, or just go, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, what are they doing there and how did they do it? And, you know, how have they made that model work? And could I adopt that somewhere? Could I somehow use that to make what I do be better? So, but if I was like, oh, great, I finished work for the weekend, I don't have to think about work till Monday morning again, and just completely cut myself off and separate myself for the weekend, then my business isn't, like, the universe isn't going to be whispering ideas to me about how to expand my business over like 2 days out of the 7. Is that answering your question, Aradhana?
Awesome. I had so much coming up and so much going on. Wow. Thank you so much.
You're very...
We have a few questions here.
Yeah, I've just seen them. Today, I'm being very good and making my computer work for me, which is great.
Awesome.
So, Kushbu has said, congruence. So one of the questions is, how about congruence with my business? I tend to project and force my decisions on my business, and I go a lot into the do-do mode. So that's a great question. Yeah. So, and another word or other words to use for the same concept I'm talking about is being in flow. So the opposite of being in do mode, and what I will often talk about, cognitive mode. So when I say you're very cognitive, you're very in your head, you're really thinking about that, that is the opposite to being in flow, being listening to the information, following the whispers, and creative intuitively. There is obviously a place where those two meet in the middle, where you have to do things physically and you have to cognitively think about your business and apply things. But how you do it and what order of priority you give things, and when and how and where and why you decide to institute things, that is the part that I use intuition and business whispering for. And I'm just going to jump to a second question, and then I'm going to come back to this question, because I've got another question here which says, what does body whispering have to do with business? And that is the best question ever. And this is the best example of this body whispering I have for you. Is body whispering is about listening to the intuitive guidance of your body, right? And how your body and the universe are always whispering to you and giving you information or guidance. And if we tap in and listen to it, we know how to change any area of our life. As I have done that more and more in my life, and by listening to my body, I'm more and more tapped into becoming the healer that I am. And then my business grew and expanded, and more people started finding me. And as more and more people started finding me, and I was working on more and more people and then running classes, the more I somehow started facilitating people on business, because there's 3 main areas to life, and it's money and business, relationship, and body. And body and business and money are like 2 of my favorite topics. So even though I'm not a business person by trade, I started facilitating more and more people on business, and more information would come to me, and more people who were in very high levels in business or had huge businesses or were multimillionaires were my clients, and I was facilitating them. And it would baffle me, but I'd follow the energy and keep going and just think, okay, this is cool. And, so that happened and that happened and that happened. And then this year, it was like, okay, Dodo, Adeela, if you're not getting this already, what else we want to be is we want you to start not only body whispering, but create this thing called business whispering. So business whispering, because I now have so much information from all my years of body whispering, is the same concept, but applied to businesses. And it's finally now been created as kind of its own little subcategory of the work that I do, and as its own class now. And hopefully India, if we can make it work, we do want to bring this class to India. I want to say next year, early next year, hopefully. So that is how body whispering has translated, like that's what on earth it's got to do with business or money, because how I make money, how I am successful, how I create and do anything in my life that creates the best results is through body whispering. And what is body whispering? It's listening to that information that my gut instinct has, that my body has, that my awareness has, and following through on it. And it creates results that are beyond what I could have imagined. I hope that answers your question. And if it doesn't, let me know. So I'm just going to go back to that previous question. So that I hope, so then to give you an example, that previous question was about how do I get out of do mode and get into not forcing my projections and ideas onto my business. I like stories and anecdotes because that's how I learn. So I'm just going to give you lots of anecdotes. So for example, in my business, one of my businesses is a wellness practice. So I have a practice where I'm a chiropractor and a healer in, and I have staff, and you know, we're a clinic that's open 6 days a week and we see clients. And so in that practice over the last 2 years, you know, like every 6 months, I'm like, now's the time that I'm going to hire another doctor. Now is the time. And then I like really want to hire that other doctor, and I've put in ads and I've talked to people and I've interviewed people, and it just hasn't worked. It just has not worked out. And then I've had to just give up on it because I was doing it from a very cognitive point of view. I was looking at my timelines. I was looking at what I wanted to create. I was looking at what would work well on paper, and I wasn't following the energy. And as soon as what would happen is I'd really want to hire this other doctor to come on board, and the practice would not want that other doctor on board, and then the practice would stop working as well as it was working. And then I'd go, damn it. And finally I realized that I'm the only person that's needed in there for now, right? So finally I let go, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to hire another person. I'm just going to be the doctor in there and have all the support staff. And now it's humming along beautifully. And now the business has said to me, yeah, next year in January, we're ready for you to get someone else on, okay? And I've got so many examples about that. Getting out of cognitive is one of the things I facilitate clients on the most. When you come and see me, or you have a session with me, or I'm doing the body whispering classes or business whispering classes, I always say to you guys, get out of your head. I want a non-cognitive answer to this. So when I say that, it means I want you to tell me the first thing that comes out of your mouth by bypassing your brain. So don't think about it before you let it come out of your mouth. Or I want you to tell me your gut instinct, what comes from in your tummy or in here, not from here. Right? So another thing that I wanted to do when I first got my clinic is a lot of chiropractors, they have what we call a high volume clinic. That means that you see lots of clients and you charge a certain amount and you see lots of clients. And so the industry standard is like 100 to 200 clients a week. And that's what the goal is. And so when I first started, I had this number in my head that I was like, X is going to be my, the number of clients that I want my clinic to see and that I need to see to make the right amount of money that I need to make. And I would never make that amount, because it was a ridiculous amount of clients, because I was forgetting that I'm not your average chiropractor. And so as I started to follow the information, and I started practicing in a way that was really authentic to me and really congruent with who I am and how I practice and the other gifts that I have, which means I'm not like other chiropractors. I don't get you in and out within 5 or 10 minutes and just do a structural adjustment. More and more of my clients started tuning into facilitation clients, which are longer appointments. That structure was just no longer relevant to me, and I had to completely relook at my figures that I was targeting for and aiming for in my practice. And that number that I need to hit every week is a quarter of what I had wanted to 2 years ago. And that is but that number means I'm fully booked. It means that I've got more than enough money coming into the clinic. It means I'm practicing in a way that is so congruent with me, and my practice is entirely referral based. That means I don't need to put money into advertising and doing flyer drops and scrambling to find 200 clients a week, because the clients come to me because I'm practicing in a way that's congruent with me, and I'm practicing in a way, or I'm running my business in a way that it wants to be run, and that my body wants to run it by. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in a second. I'll talk about how the information that your body has and how your body feels, and how to include your body in your business and how you run your business, or how you create your business. And then in the second half of the call, which is shortly, we'll start talking a bit more about money and finances and whatever other questions you guys have, okay? So I'm always in my head and keep doubting my awareness. I know. So what is body whispering about, or what is any consciousness work about? It's about making that voice on the inside, it's making that awareness more valuable and trusting it more than what the voices and the distraction on the outside. So, I've done quite a few calls by this time, guys, around body whispering, and a lot of them you can find on my website, dradeelafiz.com, or on my YouTube channel. And those calls really go through the process of body whispering, or what I call how to create a life that you are very congruent with. And one of the things I really talk about is how to follow that energy. And basically that 3-step process is like, ask for the information, be willing to receive that information and awareness. And when you receive it, the golden rule, what changes everything, is you have to then listen to it. When you get an awareness or you get information, you have to trust it enough and trust yourself enough to follow through with it. That's the only way it creates success. That's the only way that you do something that will be different to what everyone else is doing. And so the number one advice or piece of information I can give you is, when you get this awareness, when you get a whisper from your body or from the universe or your business, you have to listen to it. That's how you're going to create the life that you're after. That's how you're going to create a life that's really congruent with you. But if you get stuck right at that step where you're not actually willing to listen to that information, because you're not willing to have it be the most valuable thing in the world, if you're willing to let the voices on the outside and the doubt and the distraction from external sources be louder and more valuable than your internal knowing, then you're kind of stuck at step 1. Okay, so the best homework I can give you for this call is, start small. That's okay. Ask your body or ask your business for some information. Ask it how to do something, or if you're stuck on some information or you want to implement something, ask your business. Okay, business, I want to do this. How should I do it? What's the best way to do it? Who do I need to talk to? When you get that information, follow through with it. Do what it tells you to do and see what those results are. See what it creates for you. And as you do that, as you do it once and you realize, wow, that was really awesome, that really worked for me, you'll do it again, and you'll do it again, and you'll do it again. And that's how you build that muscle of awareness and how you build that muscle of body whispering. And so the point of like the classes, if you're thinking of coming along, there's a class in Mumbai in September, is we really drum into you in 2 days how to make this something that is intrinsic, how to make this something that just bypasses your cognitive mind and bypasses doubt and lets you tap into that amazing resource of your knowing and awareness all the time, and use that as the basis for how you create your life, how you create your business, how you create your relationships, how you do healing sessions, how you do facilitation sessions, how you decide who to work with, who to take on as a business partner, whether to go ahead with a deal or not. Those are all the things those are all the practical applications of this work that we cover in the 2-day class. And that's just brought up something that I've just got to remind myself to talk to you guys about in a minute. I'm just trying to get through all of these questions. Okay. Anything else coming up, guys? Any other questions?
I think there are more questions on the chat.
Yeah.
So Pooja Sharma says, my husband is so much into talking, thinking, work, and other worldly things 24/7 that there is no personal place. Whenever I bring the point, we have arguments or fights. It's not a pleasant place to be in.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Do you run your husband's bars, Pooja? Okay. So, it sounds like your husband needs a little bit, or would benefit from a little bit of helpful ways to channel that. So, last week I did a call on kids and the work that I do with kids. But when I work with kids and adults that are like this, so, that would tend to be like an ADD, ADHD, or an OCD tendency where it's like, someone has so much going on in their head all the time. One of the things, so actually maybe listen to the previous 2 calls in this series because they all have really practical tips. But, there are things that you can do such as like, running his bars, and anyone that's not from, who hasn't done Access Consciousness, Consciousness is like the basis or one of the frameworks for a lot of the work that I do. And so the bars are one of the body processes I advocate a lot and run on a lot, if not all of my clients. So running his bars, let him have a facilitation session with a facilitator or yourself. But I wonder if he's actually implementing these ideas, because if he isn't implementing it, can you wedgie him or get a facilitator to help facilitate him so he starts to put into practice all of these ideas and all of this talk? And if he is putting it into practice, can you get involved with that? Like, I don't know if you like business, but one of the things that me and my husband are always connecting on and talking about, and that's a huge part of like having fun for us in our relationship, may or may not be fun for you, is like creating business ideas, talking about how this person's doing business and what you like about that and what you don't like about that, and how you would create it if you were doing it. Because if that's something that's very high on your husband's priority list in life, which is business and money, is he creating money for you and your family? Like, is this something that you can get on board with? Is this something that you guys can actually contribute to each other with your conversations in how to create more money and abundance for your family? Like, get behind those business conversations and get in there with him. Maybe you feel like he's always talking at you. What information do you have? You know, how can you use your business whispering and your body whispering skills to facilitate this to change? And if it's not the business that you can tap into and get questions or awareness from, what information can you get from his body? What does he require, or what are you required to do to change this? Okay. Yeah, okay. You're welcome. So one of the things that I went through with one of my clients yesterday, I did a session with, is really talking to them about, in business and in life, you get to these situations, or you get these opportunities, or you get to a decision point where you need to make a decision, or there's an opportunity, or you want to create something for your business in particular. And so when you're really asking about that, or you've been presented with an opportunity, there's this fine distinction that I wanted to talk to you guys about that I think is really important in business and in life, actually. And it's when you get an opportunity that presents itself to you, to really save yourself a whole lot of grief and save yourself a whole lot of time, and save yourself a whole lot of energy by looking into the future and listening to your body and listening to your business, tapping into those whispers and finding out whether that is the decision that's going to create the most for you or not. So what I mean by this is, when you are either presented with an opportunity, or you get offered a job, or you get offered a business partnership, and it looks like a great opportunity, but you're not sure. This is how I use facilitation, and this is where I really use body whispering and business whispering to help me make a decision, so that I don't do something because it looked like a good idea, sounded like a good idea, smelt like a good idea, but because of all of that, I cut off my awareness and went for this good idea, and then 6 months down the track, I'm like, this was the worst thing ever. Why did I do this? So I have learned over the years to actually really minimize that, the occurrence of that, or the chances of that happening, by using my awareness at the beginning, and also along the way to stop things from turning into a disaster. So there's two sides to this coin, and I want to elaborate on this a little bit. So say and you can apply this to any situation. You can apply this to when you're hiring staff. If you're the business owner, you can apply this to when you're applying for a job, or you get offered a job or a role. If you're the employee, you can apply this to someone that offers to go ahead with you in a business partnership, or you get offered a business deal. When that deal presents itself, or that opportunity presents itself, what is your gut instinct? What is your awareness telling you? When you tap into that, what information do you get? And there'll be a couple of scenarios here. And it might be that it looks, feels, tastes, and smells like a great opportunity, but there's something in your gut that doesn't sit right. There's something about it that you're not congruent with. There's something about it that you're not in alignment with. And it is those decisions that it's really difficult, going back to a previous question we had, to not let your cognitive mind talk you out of your awareness. This is when it's really easy to say, I've got this, I don't know why, something about this, I don't know why I'm hesitating. And you say, I'm just being silly. This sounds like a great opportunity. It's on paper, it's exactly what I've been asking for. This looks right, feels right, it should be right, so I'm going to go ahead with it. right? And then so you don't listen to your gut instinct, you don't follow your awareness, and you go ahead and you commit to that deal, or you go for that job, or you hire that person, and then a couple of months down the track, or a couple of weeks down the track, something happens that makes you go, oh my God, how did I end up in this situation? And you realize what your gut instinct or your awareness was telling you back when you were looking at that, but you didn't know to trust that awareness. You didn't know to trust your body and to trust that guidance from the universe. So this is really about making, when you get that gut instinct or that awareness or that feeling that, I don't want to use the word feeling too much, because feelings are often, a distraction. When you get that awareness or that whisper that something's not quite right here, or I'm not quite congruent with it, you've got a couple of options. You can ask for more information. Ask for more information to show up, or you can look into the future, and you can look at one of the questions to ask is, if I what is this going to create in the future? If I do this, what is it going to create? If I don't do this, what is it going to create? Look at what it's going to create. And if it's going to create something that you are congruent with and you're in alignment with, that's great. But if you then continue to get that heaviness, or you look at that and you're like, something's not quite right, don't do it. Don't do it, because 6 months down the track, 2 weeks down the track, 1 year down the track, something will happen that will make you realize why, it was a really good idea for you to not take up that offer or that deal or hire that person. The same goes for vice versa. Sometimes you get offered this opportunity and the energy feels amazing. It feels really congruent. You're like, I don't know why this feels so light and so right. And this person who doesn't look like the right person at all on the outside is really testing as, or, feeling like the right person for this. But it doesn't match your judgments. It either doesn't look the way you thought it should look. The person I was talking to yesterday, there was this opportunity, but it wasn't in the place that she thought it would be. So it was like everything that she wanted, but she was like, but it's not the place I want to be. I can't picture myself there. That's not where I was planning to be in the future. Why is this coming up in this location? And it's like, when something comes up and it doesn't match your judgment of how it should look, where it should be, and who that person should be or look like, are you willing to trust that enough and actually go for it, even though it doesn't look like how you thought it was going to look like? So, these are the some of the tools of using body whispering, using the awareness that you get and the information that you get about how to create your business, or whether or not to go forward with a business deal, or whether or not to do business with a person. And with people, this is where I use it a lot. When I hire staff, when I need to make deals with people or go into contracts with people, is what is this person going to create for me, for my business? Is this person going to be a contribution to my business? Is this person able to do the job that I require them to do? And I've had so many, I can only talk to you guys about this and give you this information because I've probably done it the hard way. And with a lot of this, I have done it the hard way, or I've got clients who've really done it the hard way, so I can really give you the information. But I went through the first however many people I hired. Their CV looked amazing. They interviewed amazingly well. They said all the right things and had all the right background and had all the right experience. And so cognitively, it was a no-brainer. It was like, yep, perfect, tick, tick, tick. And they get in and to do the job. And within like 2 days, the first 2 days, I'm like, what have I done? This person is just not good at this job, even though they should be. And every time I knew, like, every time, whatever tool you use, whether it's muscle testing or a gut instinct or awareness or the light or heavy, you know, whether something feels light or heavy, like there was just something about it that was making me hesitate, and I talked myself into it. And every time I've done that, every time I haven't listened to my awareness, every time I've talked myself into or out of a scenario or situation in my business, I've had to get out of it. So that's a little bit of information for you guys. And on the other hand, it's really cool playing with that stuff. I mean, when I've hired people that haven't worked for me, when I've hired people that I've then gone, oh, this is not working out for the business, and now I have to fire them, I've never had to fire them, because I then put it out to the universe and I say, okay, universe, sort this out for me, please. I promise I'll listen to you from next time. And it's amazing the miracles that occur. You know, I've had people that have been transferred. I've had someone whose husband got made redundant and they had to move away. Someone else that got offered an internship. Someone else who got a health issue. So I've never had to then go through and fire those people, because I asked the universe to have my back and to show me the way, or lead me the way, or let this work out better than I expected. And it always has. And that's how you do it. And I've got also lots of tips and tricks for like hiring and firing people, but I think I need to save that for the next call or class, because we're actually getting quite close to the end of time. I would like a little bit of clarification on the last question from Kushbu. Am I willing to go wrong on the basis of my awareness and still implement these things? Is that a question for me or for you? Maybe you're asking yourself if you're willing to be wrong. Yeah, a recording's going to go out to everyone here that's on my mailing list. If you are not on my mailing list, send me or Aradna a message with your name and your email address, and we will send you the recording for this tomorrow. Yeah, you have to, like, yeah, so someone's saying that they're not willing to be wrong with their awareness, and it's like, that's actually not a thing. Like, you can't be wrong with your awareness. Your awareness isn't wrong. How you interpret your awareness can be incorrect. The more you listen to your awareness and trust your awareness and follow that intuition and guidance and awareness, you will build that muscle. You know, I'm at the stage where I trust myself and my awareness implicitly. It's how I make money. It's how I go into deals. It's whether or not I trust a person. It's whether or not I do a deal with a person. It's whether or not I let a person into my home or my life or my family. I use my awareness, and I'm not willing to make myself wrong for that anymore. So basically what you may be asking about is, you know, I know that it's tough to always follow through with your gut instinct or your awareness, because sometimes what your awareness says is contradictory to what is most convenient, what everyone else wants you to do, what would make the most logical sense. You know, I've done things that seemed like, you know, that they didn't make sense, or that they created a problem or a loss. I remember when I was in India, I've told the story before, but I was in India, it was only the beginning of this year. I had 2 classes in India at the beginning of this year, body whispering classes, and I did a class in Delhi, and then I cancelled the class in Mumbai. I cancelled the class in Mumbai, I didn't know why, but I was just like, I made a decision to cancel the class about a week and a half before the class had to go ahead. And even if more registrations came through, and it cost me money to cancel the venue. I lost the deposit for the venue. It cost us another $800 to change my flight so I could fly back. I just had a really long trip. My body was saying it needed to get back to New Zealand. It wanted to go back home on the same flight as my husband, and so I pulled this trip of mine short by a week. And I got back to New Zealand and, got back, went to work, I think, for 2 days. I wasn't too upset about losing the money and making that decision and following my gut instinct. But, 2 days later, my nephew passed away unexpectedly. And I was meant to still have been in India at that time when that happened. And so that whatever inconvenience, whatever money that was lost, whatever judgment that I used, or my husband, or the people that signed up for the class, or the host, whatever they thought about me cancelling that class, it didn't matter in the end, because me cancelling that class and being in New Zealand at that time was exactly what was required and was needed. And I'm grateful that I was willing to lose money, willing to be wrong, willing to be vulnerable, and fail at having a class be cancelled and fly back to New Zealand, even though I had no idea. There is no way in the world we would have seen that coming. Yeah. And that, when you talk about it now, that yeah, thank you. Yeah, it does sound impressive, or it is like, wow, to trust your awareness or your gut instinct that much. At the time, it doesn't always feel like that. Like, I just had to know that I needed to do what I needed to do. And you don't necessarily have, this amazing feeling of fireworks going off and going, yeah, I'm trusting my awareness and I'm so cool and this is great. This is exactly what's required. You don't know why you're doing it at the time. So I'm talking about situations where you may have to turn down a deal where you might be potentially making a lot of money, or turning down what looks like the dream job, or not doing something that everyone in your family wants you to do, because your gut instinct or your awareness is telling you not to do it or to do it. So are you willing to follow that information and awareness and then see what it creates for your business? The last thing I wanted to talk about is the inclusion of your body in business creation, in life creation. Body whispering has the word body in it, because I love bodies. I love your body. I love your body. I love my body. I'm grateful for bodies, and I'm grateful for the information our bodies give us. And if you're wondering how to include your body, or what your body even has to do with how to do business, it's like your body is a part. It's literally the physical vehicle that is your ambassador in this life. It's how you present here on earth and how you're able to do things. It's how you're able to have a business, or how you're able to make money, or why you need money. If you didn't have a body, you wouldn't need the money in the first place. And you probably would be interested in doing other things, not just, you wouldn't really care too much about business if you didn't have a body. So your body is a really important element to include. And so when I talk about alignment, I really do mean, not only do I want you to be in spiritual alignment and emotional alignment with what you're creating, but also being in physical alignment with what you're creating. An example of that is, are you Are you honoring of your body and how you work? You know that example I gave you? If I was seeing 200 clients a week, my body would be shot to pieces. It would not be happy, and it would not be able to do that for longer than a few months without breaking down. Even at the pace that I currently work at, and I still see a lot of clients, you know, I see close to 100 clients a week some weeks. I need to always be careful of how much I'm taking on, what I'm doing with my body, and how my body is feeling. Because not only do I do this healing work, but my body will take on often. And I'm, you know, it's a process of learning and not doing it, but taking on a lot of the energy or the information from my clients' bodies. I need to really make sure I'm nurturing my body and listening to it and making it part of the conversation. You know, my body tells me stuff all the time. And when I listen to it and I act in a way that's congruent with it, it creates not only for my fit for my body and therefore my life, but then everything works better. There's no point having lots of money if you've got no health. There's no point creating a huge business if you're going to spend, you know, the next 20 years in hospital, or if you're going to burn yourself out, or if you're going to have a mental breakdown along the way. So body whispering and including your body in the equation is about how to create in the way that creates the most success for you in every area of your life, including health, including relationships. You know, you need to give your relationship the time and the reverence and the fun and the sex that it requires and deserves. Don't have your body and your relationship suffer at the expense of your business or needing to make money. Have money be a byproduct of that stuff. Will I have a class in Delhi? Not till January, I think, maybe February, I'm not sure. Aradna and my other hosts need to sort out a date for me in Delhi, guys. But Mumbai, I'll be there in September, and you're welcome to fly to Mumbai. I think it's maybe an hour away from Delhi by flight. There's one more thing I was going to talk about. Money. Do we need to talk more about money? Are you guys starting to get what I mean when I say money is a byproduct of being in alignment and consciously creating your business? When you create with those elements, success is a byproduct, and it's almost a no-brainer. Money is a byproduct, and it's a no-brainer. So for me, when I say I have a referral-based business or a referral-only business, that's really amazing, because so much, that means me practicing and doing my work in a way that's been in alignment with who I am, and consciously following the information that I get and asking the universe and asking God, you know, I'm here to do your work. What would you have me do? I'm here to create or do my part in helping to create a conscious world and helping those clients or people that are looking to create more consciousness in their life. That's not, that is why I do what I do. And a byproduct of that, the more I work at and dedicate myself to that work, and for you, whatever your work is, whatever the reason that you're doing your work is, if you dedicate yourself to that work and being the best at that work and bringing that work to fruition in this world and on this planet, money is a byproduct of that. You can't help but be successful. Do you know why? Because there's so many people on this world that they're not doing it for those reasons. So when the world sees someone who's in alignment and congruent and really dedicating themselves to their work, that business is always successful. You know, we live in the age of like, people are becoming successful overnight by their products being featured online, or their raving customers going and giving them reviews. You know, you've now got burger chains and fashion designers and so many people who have become internet sensations or have made humongous businesses that are entirely online. Why? Because they created something that they were really dedicated to, and they put everything into their work, and they were probably really aligned with the work that they created. And then it created success. It created people recognizing that when you do something with your heart, when you occupy the most of who you are and who you be, and you occupy the space around you, and you bring love and healing to that space, people want to be part of it. People want to be around you. And money is a byproduct of that. And the more and more that I do that and dedicate myself to that, the more money I make, the more successful I get, the less that money is this huge factor that I think about. When I do classes, when I decide to do a class somewhere on the other side of the world, believe me, that's not a financially smart decision. And in terms of, the financial benefits for me, I'm not, normally I'll break even. But that work lights me up. Like that work, especially in India, like, you guys are amazing. And so when I do the work that I do and I facilitate these classes, I am so there to bring a higher level of consciousness and healing and facilitation to those clients. And those clients respond to that, and they pay me and they become my clients, and they ask for one-on-one sessions. So then my business grows. They then tell all their friends to come to my next class. That is how my work has grown in India. I didn't know a single person in India 5 years ago. I had never been to India before when I came and did my first class with Tulika. Like, it's unbelievable what happens when you follow the energy and show up to do the work that you're here to do. And that is what I do, and that is why I do it. And so, money becomes less of the reason why you do something. But then it's so ironic. I mean, isn't that frustrating and annoying that, your whole life you want to make money so you can be successful and enjoy yourself, and then you start doing the work that you're here to do and you enjoy it, and then money is just a byproduct of it. And I know how frustrating it is when you're really needing to make some money, because we've all been there. But that honestly is part of the answer. So if you need, a little bit of guidance about how to actually get to more peace with money, and how to actually start inviting money into your life and having it be less of a worry for you and more of something that is part of creation for you, really ask to have peace with money, but ask to get really present and potent and powerful with the work that you do. Whatever work it is. I have people who are bakers, and they bake amazing things, and they nourish and heal people with what they make. I have people who work in finance, people who are accountants. Whatever it is, the work that you do, put a bit of your soul into it, like create with it, contribute to the world with it. And if that's not the thing that gets you excited, a lot of you are doing something on the side. A lot of you have become facilitators or are healers, or are doing, a side business these days with the internet. Like, have fun with that creation. Put yourself into it. Put who you are and what you're here to do into that work, and it will be fruitful for you. Okay. Nirja, I'm sorry, you're going to have to listen to the recording. I don't know what I said. Money is a byproduct of being in alignment and probably congruent, congruent with the work you do. Being congruent, when I talk about congruent all the time, the word congruence or congruent means that what you are doing is exactly in alignment with everything on the inside and everything on the outside. If you want to do something, for example, if you don't really want to get married, but you decide to get married because your family put a lot of pressure on you to get married, you're not really congruent with getting married or having a successful relationship. And often your relationship will not be successful because you weren't really congruent with it. Or when you need to make a decision in business, or when you need to commit to something, but you're not really quite convinced, that means you're not really congruent with it. And so when you do work that you're not really congruent with, if you really only go and work because you need to pay the bills and actually you hate that job and you hate your boss, you know, you're not really congruent with that work. That's kind of the result that you're going to have. When being congruent in every area of your life, being congruent with your body, being... Sorry, can you say that again? My co-facilitator, Aran, just helping. It actually just unmuted itself, didn't it? Yeah, that's quite amazing. Yeah, so congruence is something I always talk about. I started talking about it 3 or 4 years ago. I'm still harping on about it. So yeah, it's something I could talk about a lot, because the work that I do is about getting you congruent with who you are in your life and how you're living your life. So when I have clients that come in to see me with a chronic health issue, or they have a real thing that they want to change with their body and it's really not changing, often it's because either they're not congruent with something in their life, and so their body is whispering to them, but from whispering it's resorted to shouting, or they're not congruent, like they're saying they want to lose weight, or they're saying they want to go, like people say to me all the time, I really want to go to the gym every day and I really want to, but I can't, I don't. The alarm goes and then I don't get up and I don't go to the gym. So you're saying you're not congruent with going to the gym. That's what that means. So what it's my work to do is I then tap into your body, or I facilitate you, and we find out what is a congruent way for you to move your body or to lose weight. How does your body want to eat? How do you get congruent with losing weight? And that's how we do the work. So that's, body whispering applied to health. And then we have body whispering applied to business. And body whispering, is applicable to every area of your life. And so I am trying to wrap up, just getting a few more questions. Consciously willing to bring congruence to who you are and what you manifest. Yeah, so manifestation, actualization, which is a better term to use, but bringing something into the world, whether or not you manifest something that you've been working really hard to manifest and have been doing all the visualization and doing the tapping and doing the this and doing the that and writing out your goals and affirmations, whether or not you manifest something, one of my thinking on this is whether or not you manifest it is really a reflection of how congruent you are with what you are wanting to manifest. So if you say, I want $1 million, I want $1 million, I really want to create $1 million, I'm really working on manifesting $1 million, but you're actually not congruent with having money, or you have poverty consciousness, or you're scared of having $1 million because you think everyone's going to come and ask you for money or steal it from you, then you're actually not congruent with having $1 million. So the chances of you having $1 million or making $1 million are quite little. So as you do this work and you identify what your blocks are, we clear the blocks to getting you congruent with what you're wanting to create in your life, or you're desiring to create in your life, or actually finding out that that's a lie. You don't even want $1 million. What you want is a really nice house with a swimming pool. You don't need to make $1 million for that. You might be able to rent that house, or you might be able to, house it for a friend. And then that's what you're more congruent with. I don't know, but that's kind of the point of the congruence conversation. So, guys, I think we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for being on here, for your questions, for your comments, for your contribution. As you can see, this is just the tip of the iceberg for me when it comes to body whispering, and when it comes to business and money. I am going to be in India in September 25th and 26th. For those of you that are in Mumbai or who are going to do the COP class in Mumbai, it's right after that class if you're in Access, so you can come along, and there are no prereqs to a body whispering 2-day class. The hosts for this class are Aradhana, Tulika and Sonali. Sonali's a promoter for us. She's in Mumbai, which is great. So if you're in Mumbai, contact her or contact any of the other girls. And I'd love to see as many of you there as possible. What would it take? And yeah, I will send the recording for this out in the next 24 hours. So there you go. All right, guys, take care. Good night. Oh, have a great day if you're in India. It's only the beginning of the day, isn't it? All right, see you guys. Bye.